Hi everyone, this is Kim Vopni, the fitness doula, and I'm going to show you a hamstring stretch that I do with most of my clients. And many people know how to do a stretch with a yoga strap, but I want to show you a common cheat and how you can make it a bit more effective so your overall functional length of the muscle we're trying to access is better. So first, I'm also going to bolster myself too. So I usually come down on the mat first and just get a check-in of different points of where I am. So I think about my heels, the back of my calves, the back of my hamstrings, what sort of space I have between my low back and the mat, where my pelvis is. I check in with my ribs, so I am a little bit thrusted. I feel for the backs of my shoulder blades and backs of my arms when they're down, and where my head is. So I kind of give myself a little bit of a starting point. And right now my ribs are a little thrusted and I want to bolster myself so that I can get my ribs down. So what I use is, I've got my half dome here and I've got a yoga block. You can use, I have a bolster available. You can use sometimes a Bosu ball actually. If you lie down on that, that's for a bit higher bolstering, but those are a couple options for you. So I'm going to put the half dome right below my shoulders, and my head is resting on the yoga block here. And then I grab my mat, my band, and I will do my left leg. I will stretch that so that you can see what's happening with my right leg when I demonstrate the cheat. So I've got it held in my hands. I'm going to straighten my right leg out, and what you'll notice now is, hopefully you'll be able to see that my ribs are now, they used to be a little bit up, flared, sort of thrusted forward, and now I'm able to sink them down because of the bolstering that I've done. And going into a hamstring stretch, for instance in yoga classes, this may be a stretch that is typically done, and people will get their leg up and they've got here, and then there's an illusion of flexibility or length when the pelvis starts to tip posteriorly and this thigh comes off of the ground. So I can have my leg straight up here and feel like I've got great flexibility in my hamstring on the left side, but the reality is I haven't actually lengthened anything here. All I've done is tilted my pelvis back and lifted this hamstring up to give me more flexion. So if I'm to let my pelvis come back down and drop into neutral and get my hamstring back down on the ground, I lose that leg. I can't get it up as high as I did before. So when you're doing this on your own, you want to start down low enough so that this hamstring, the meaty part of your hamstring, stays on the ground and you have your pelvis in neutral. So a good point here to check is take the heel of your hand on your ASIS, or your pelvis, top of your pelvis, your hip bone, and your fingertips onto your pubic symphysis, or your pubic bone or joint. And those 2 points should be in a flat, even plane. If I'm in a posterior tilt, my fingers are higher. If I'm in an anterior tilt, my fingers are lower. So in neutral, I'm in a nice, even plane. So you want to find that back of the hamstring here. And then with the strap around the ball of the foot, you're going to lift it up, keeping your legs straight, and go as high as you can without tilting your pelvis backwards and without that hamstring popping up off of the ground. And once you have found that place, so right here I can start to feel my pelvis start to tip a little. Now what you want to do is, so I'm stretching my left leg, so with my left hand I'm going to pull the strap ever so slightly more than the right, and what that does is it just starts to evert my foot, and that gives you an extra bit of length, specifically down by the calf as well. So you want to just now hang out here, and if you feel every once in a while that the sort of resistance point that you've met lessens, then you may be able to bring your leg a little bit higher. Again though, only do so if your thigh doesn't pop up off the ground and if your pelvis doesn't tilt backwards. So you just hang out here. Sometimes I find when I'm doing these, anything that requires me to hold on to something, it's actually my hands that need a break first. So I usually hang on to this until my hands start to scream at me, and then I would let go. But I try to stay here for about a minute or so. And again, every once in a while they check in and see if I have a little bit more length available to me, and kind of always keep it at that edge. So think of yin yoga when they say find your edge and stay there. And when that edge leaves, find a new one. So that's a hamstring stretch. You can do this in pregnancy as well. What I typically do for pregnant women is bolster them a little bit more. So you want to keep the head above the heart. So bolstering here, you maybe even want to add what I had on the ground plus the bolster. Coming down on your side first, putting your head down. So this is too high for me, but for a pregnant woman it may be something better for them. And bring your knee in, so you want to keep that hamstring down, and you just do the same thing, so you're lifting up as high as you can without your pelvis tilting posteriorly and without your hamstring popping up off of the ground, and then add that eversion of the foot by pulling the outside arm a little bit more with that strap. So it's great for pregnancy, it's great for early postpartum, and it's great for anybody really. Anybody that has hamstrings, which is all of us, would benefit from doing this stretch and doing it in a more optimal way, incorporating the principles from the restorative exercise and nutritious movement program to make sure you're gaining length where you want it in your optimal alignment, rather than cheating and getting into non-optimal alignment and looking like you have more length. So I hope you found that helpful. Enjoy your hamstring length, and as a result you'll have better pelvic positioning as well. We'll see you next time.